And you know what's the worst part? That after our trip, when we're gonna publish all the content we did here, the Zvezda fans will still believe that we're paid by Partizan because mostly the content we created is only Partizan related. And
What
where
an
we're heading
important
to.
topic that you're.
And where we're heading to.
What a nice transition to this topic.
Wow.
What do you think about that? Because I can speak for hours for the media, as I call it, unavailability in the EuroLeague.
That's
and
a
that we
very good
face
term.
here in Belgrade as well.
Okay, I'll say it because you cannot say it. I'll say it.
Okay.
We have a problem.
I will add later.
We have a problem in Europe in media and in trying to make this, fundamental game of basketball, the one that we love so much in Europe, that is so not a circus and a show like the NBA is. We cannot make it into entertainment, and we cannot create content because this is not the first time, not the second time. It's almost every trip that we go out with Donatas to make content, to talk to players, that we do not get. We get media unavailability. We get no certain answers who we can talk to. Usually at the end of it, we just get, that guy is not available, that guy is not available, and that guy is not available, but we could give you the 7th or 8th person in the rotation who doesn't speak English probably, or something like that, And how do you expect us to take that offer of the 7th or 8th man? And, what can we do with that? We want to talk to the biggest names. We want to give the fans want to see the biggest names,
And to get to know them better, because they're still to this day, if you're coming out of this, local region, local basketball team, and the rest of the Europe, they don't really know you, except from that, okay, you score that kind of amount of points and that's it.
And it's like Zvezda are the team that has 10 new players, 11 new players. And you are not giving their fans a chance to know them better because, they have made those media day interviews. They probably have answered a lot of questions for Serbian TVs and stuff. But we are trying to make some more content like Donatas yesterday made with Alexa, watching his clips and he's reacting. Donatas had so many ideas, about how to talk with the players, not give them generic, I would say generic questions. He has those original ideas prepared. And then, this is my first trip. And what I see is basically 15 minutes of Zvezda players shooting left-handed three-pointers before they start a practice. But no, they can't give you answers to 2 questions because somebody decides for them that they can't do it. And I was like, this is a joke. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous, really, because probably those guys would do it for
in some
15
cases.
minutes.
Yeah.
In some cases, right? But it's Shabazz after the game. If you lose a game, it's much harder to want to answer questions. But before the game, for 10 minutes, for 5 minutes, make everyone available. I don't know, for at least 2 questions. And if you want to grab a guy, it's not as hard to give 5 minutes of your time before a practice where other, some players will still be doing those interviews for the TV, for the right holders, for the blah, 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 all that stuff. And here now is just the teams or the media officers, whatever, they're deciding, no, you can't do it because it's pressure. It's the derby. This guy played in the NBA. This guy has been everywhere, and it's the pressure of the derby. What are you talking?
Now you ask me what to answer to the questions. No, but to be honest, when the approach is, would you like to give an interview, to have an interview tomorrow, and not when could you have an interview, or we have to do this interview? Then this is the problem. When the question is, would you like to? What's the easiest answer to say? Nah, I'm good. So until we get to a point where the league itself is starting to, promote the idea of let's give the media as much availability as possible and enforce that in one way or another. And this will not be the most popular decision for, the players, let's say, or the coaches, because it's easier not to talk to the media. It's easier not to be in the spotlight. But until we get to that point where the league, or I don't know what needs to change, maybe you have a better option. But until we get there, I think we won't be able to fulfill the full potential of these trips, because we're here for 4 days, 5 days almost. We have time to talk to anyone, but we just don't get the chance. So what can we do? And, we're doing the best that we can with the
resources available.
Exactly. So
yeah, and I'm so happy that you expanded this whole situation, this whole problem, because it's really crazy the effort that we put. I've sent all the requests for Partizan and Zvezda players from both teams. I had 3 requests. For Partizan, it was Željko, Alex Avramovic, which we did. I'm really thankful for both Alex and Ivan, the press officer of Partizan. Kevin Punter is also coming to our new show film session tomorrow. I'm also very thankful to Kevin Punter for his time. And, we had similar idea with Zvezda players. Yes, we got Rokas Giedraitis. And I think we did a cool Lithuanian podcast. And yeah, it's unfortunately only for Lithuanian audience, but sorry, he rarely speaks to Lithuanians, and we just wanted to, let's say, to get the best out of him in the Lithuanian podcast, for Lithuanian community. But then we also had this great idea of a film session show with Miloš Teodosic to speak more about his greatness reading the game, about his passing IQ. It was only basketball conversation that we were expecting to have, showing him some highlights and just going through those plays, how he was reading those situations. And the another idea was Shabazz Napier. He's actually one of the biggest names in Europe that we have. He has a lot of NBA fans, and the idea was simple. And I actually, regarding every request, I wrote kind of, a script, an explanation, why we want him, how we're gonna put him on our show, and why it's beneficial for him or for the club. Because at the end of the day, the reach that we have, the views, the exposure, it also promotes EuroLeague, it promotes basketball, and it promotes those clubs. And also for these clubs, it's an opportunity, to also to promote their sponsors. I mean, it's beneficial for everybody. So I've sent those scripts basically of the content we're going to make. And my idea with Shabazz was clear. There was this viral video at the opening night of the EuroLeague season against URBONUS. There was the short clip that I think that we made when Zvezda fans were singing that loud that you couldn't hear the EuroLeague anthem. And the first person on that clip was Shabazz Napier. And that clip had almost 12 million views. And I thought, you have the situation, you have Shabazz, who is still kind of a newcomer in Europe. He didn't play a full season in one team here. And I was like to ask him 2 simple questions. How did you feel during that situation? And you couldn't believe how many people were quoting that video and, writing, oh, was that Shabazz Napier? Oh, he's in Europe? Wow. There are a lot of Shabazz Napier fans. And I wanted him to, send message to NBA fans. How is he doing? Is he happy what he's doing right now? What kind of mission he's on? I mean, I think it's, it's a good content for the player, for the club, and for the competition, for the EuroLeague. And Shabazz Napier, unfortunately, he didn't find it the right time after the game. He found this shoot-around also very important, not to answer at least 2 questions. And I'm not even talking about the initial idea to have him for 10 minutes in one-on-one interview. And it's a complex of problems because, okay, Shabazz or any other player might be not in a mood to talk. But then there's a press officer. And the problem is that here in Europe, in most countries, and I have to emphasize that there are a lot of great media officers, but most of them, they try to protect their team too much instead of thinking how I should promote my team. Now their mindset is how I shouldn't let this guy to talk with these journalists instead of which guy I should offer to them to do the best content, what ideas I could
Yeah.
give them, to make the greatest interview. And
Or I think even better option is this. We are not asking for maybe we are asking for some sit down interviews, but that we even adapt to. We can come there with all of our equipment, make a little set in the practice gym, whatever, 10 minutes or whatever it is. We don't care about, some very specific, I don't know, that we need to take that player out somewhere and, put them in a different
David
studio.
Shabazz Napier,
Yeah. We're not asking that much, right? And the best thing would be the example you saw in the World Cup, Team USA basketball. You have full availability of anyone. You can come, approach, do that. And if we could just do that, give us, 15 minutes for all the media to approach anyone. And we'll do all the content that we need. No problem. And it wouldn't hurt any of them doing that. And
man, I don't want to hear any of this shit like, oh, it's a big game. Oh, it's a big pressure. Oh, it's been a busy week. Exactly. Team USA practice. They get the highest pressure before the competition. They have the highest pressure of losing one game and being losers in front of many people's eyes.
Yeah.
They're let's say playing in the quarterfinals. They're playing in the semifinals. They're playing for the bronze medal game. The rule was the same in every practice. Every practice day, 20-minute availability of anybody. And you can talk to Anthony Edwards, you can talk to Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves is answering the same questions for 4 times, and he's okay with that. You can talk to assistant coaches, the director of Team USA program.
Donatas needs a drink. You can tell so long. He's been ranting so long.
And there are no problems. There's no bullshit reporting or something. It's not like journalists using those opportunities to harm players, to harm teams or whatsoever. For some reason, many see journalists as some kind of enemies. But, in some situations, bad reporting happens. Yeah, some situations they have their own agenda. But, at the same time, if I'm a media officer, okay, you can do something like, a track record of this media company. If you see some bad reporting all the time, creating narratives about me in a negative way, yeah, I wouldn't be so open. At the same time, if anybody followed our trips, did we try to put anybody under the bus? Did we try to put them in some negative way? I don't think so. I think that we actually helped many of the players, the coaches or executives to be heard or, to get way better picture of them, to introduce them to the European basketball community and have this, impression. Oh, I didn't think that guy was that cool,
I think just a final thought, to finish on this question, because we've been
great question by Stefan Stamenic, really. But for real.
Say August.
I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it's like 20 before 1 a.m. and I'm like, how long could we go on talking about this?
We could probably do a whole different podcast for it, but
for sure. And I believe this should go on a public podcast.
Would be nice. But
we might keep it for the public podcast. Yeah,
I was just gonna say last thing on this. Maybe we shouldn't be surprised. Before basketnews.com, how many international English, there was, Euro hoops, whatever. But we are doing different kind of content that we try to reach, on all the platforms. Maybe we shouldn't be surprised teams are not open to this because it's been only a few years that we're in this business. And hopefully with some more years of us doing what we're doing, we'll get to a point where we'll get there. I'm just saying this is new, not just for us, but for them too.
I don't know, man.
No,
I don't know.
You don't agree?
I don't agree.
I don't know, man.
Okay. Do you have any question?
Just my last thoughts.
Okay.
Just my last 2 thoughts. I think.
I guess questions are going.
The problem, I think that how we could. Okay, the first thing is that yes, sometimes we're reaching, sometimes we're wrong, sometimes we do mistakes, and sometimes we do bad reporting or something. But there's no perfect media outlet, and we don't do it intentionally. And we're always open. If we do something wrong, you can always reach us out. and to address those issues. We had plenty of conversations where we did something wrong and we later admitted internally with clubs, with players. We also got players who approached us to explain what they don't like with us. And that's okay. We also try to be better. We're not perfect. We try to improve. And at the end of the day, our mission is just to help the European basketball product to get better, to be more recognized, to be more popular. Because at the end of the day, all we want, it sounds crazy, all we want is to get more money. But what I'm talking about, we want European basketball to be profitable.
No. All we want is to get more money. This is where we should end it.
Let's end this way.
Yeah, we want more money.
And we're taking money in cash and dinars. Yeah. No, but I mean, we want to make European basketball more profitable, but we don't move a finger to make it more profitable. And nowadays, it starts from, from the conversation, from sparking that conversation, from being noticed on social media, on media outlets, and especially internationally, because I think that almost all those teams, they already hit their ceiling in local markets. But the EuroLeague's problem and EuroLeague's challenge is to get those local teams out of their markets to another markets, to be introduced, and let's say to have foreigner fans fell in love with those teams and have that desire to watch them in your free time when your local team that you support is not playing. Oh, I like this team that a lot, so I want to put that game on my screen. So yeah, and EuroLeague should push this idea to those teams. They should set something, I don't know, some guidebook, rule book, I don't know. They have to push and maybe even force them to be more open, to be more creative, how to be more open to some media outlets. Then this change has to start with the media officers. Then coaches shouldn't be media officers no more. Because sorry, but the coaches are one of the worst promoters of the game. Because they want to control everything. And unfortunately, it doesn't help to promote the game. And we hear this idea of EuroLeague should be the players' league more and more, and even from the EuroLeague. And the change also has to start even from small details like this, because I hate hearing behind the scenes stories that this coach controls who can do an interview one-on-one, who is not available, who is available when it's right time to speak. Because believe me, they have no clue about communications. They have no clue about promotion, marketing, because they're best at coaching. So
yeah,
let them coach. Let them coach. Let them do their thing.
Let them cook.
Let them.
Yeah, let them cook. Yeah.